Yes, the title of this video was supposed to be a little controversial. Yeah, maybe a little clickbaity. But you know what? It's interesting because it illustrates something, and it's a topic that I think really needs to be talked about because it's at the root of the content that we make day in and day out, whether it's me, whether it's other guys making YouTube videos, whether it's you making content. It's all of us. Average, real fishing people. So first off, full disclosure, yes, I make ad revenues off of videos, and thank God I do, because the cost of shooting the videos, even though I'd shoot them whether I got paid or not, I don't get paid that much, but it offsets my cost of my tackle warehouse bill every month. Anybody who asks me about it, that's kind of what I tell them, and that is the truth. So that being said, I'm not a huge self-promoter. I love shooting the videos, and I think you guys know that. I don't want to get way too deep into it, but I love the idea of capturing that moment, capturing that huge fish, that technique, that when things come together. I mean, there's nothing better. Guys used to get mounts. Guys used to write articles about stuff. Now, we can shoot video. But as you know, I've had probably one of the most stellar past month and a half, 2 months, literally ever, of fishing, ever. Like the best fishing, caught the biggest bag. Like, dude, it's been freaking insane. And I think you know what I'm talking about specifically. 49 pounds, 3 ounces. Probably the biggest bag I'll ever catch, and the biggest bag cast to catch on YouTube. I think Butch Brown, people have mentioned that. I don't know if that was cast to catch, but I'm going to call it the biggest bag cast to catch on YouTube. And what I think is really cool about that is that it's kind of like alone. Like, it's insane. And I'm going to even venture to say, I don't like the self-promoting, it's kind of amazing, dude. It sets a standard. So here's what I find interesting. I've sent that video out to quite a few, let's call them media or big players in the fishing industry. And you know what, dude? Yeah, I'm trying to get some views on the video, trying to increase a little bit of ad revenue, maybe grow the YouTube channel a little bit. But at the same time, I think that video is kind of a big deal. Not to mention the fact that I don't do the whole sponsor thing and all that jazz, but it does highlight some products that were super successful on a public, highly pressured lake, and it shows them off catching freaking giants. I mean, isn't that what it's about, especially from a marketing standpoint? So of those things that I sent out, I have not seen one person or one entity share that video to highlight their products, to just, you know, as content. Everybody's looking for content these days. Not one has shared the video. Unlike you guys, real fishermen, average people, normal people, guys who, you know, weekend warriors who get out there and grind to find fish, to make it happen. You guys have shared the video, you've liked the video, you've sent out awesome freaking comments on it. But we're the average people, the normal guys, the big wigs, the fishing industry. Crickets, dude. I'm not saying they have to share the content. I'm not saying they have to do that. But I think it's an indicator. I think it's a sign of kind of where we're at in the industry. We're in a transition period. And some of the things that are happening on the grassroots level, kind of what we're doing, you know, making stuff, showing off fishing, highlighting what guys do, anglers, average anglers do, is kind of making a push. Now, I know I'm going to get the most flack for this, but it does need to be said. I don't care what you think of the Guggen Squad or Andrew Flair. I actually really like Andrew, man. We fished together. Dude, those guys changed things. They changed the way everything works because they made people like us, people who love to fish, do our thing and do our thing independently. They made us real players. They made everybody a real player because it doesn't take a huge bass boat. It doesn't take like professionals. It doesn't take all that. It takes someone who loves to fish and is passionate about the sport to make a difference, to grab an audience, to change things. They changed the game, and they showed how much neglect has been placed on an average audience. I mean, they're talking to kids that are just getting into the sport. They're all about it. These kids, they would never look at the Bassmaster stuff, the FLW stuff. They're looking at average guys, people who are normal, who go fishing, who love it. And they tapped into it. They tapped into that vein, that grassroots vein. And that has meaning. And dude, look at the amount of content and the amount of views, the amount of just audience out there who's just dying and starving for just real fishing, real content. But that being said, the game is changing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it already has changed. When I first started doing this, it had started changing. Like, we were doing stuff, we were putting out content that a lot of the bait companies and that, like, they had no idea. They weren't on board with it. They didn't understand YouTube. They didn't understand the social media end. And anglers are doing this, and people are following it. People are into it. So I'm a little, you know, I'm not in it. Well, full disclosure, I am in it for myself. But at the same time, like, I love to fish and I love to make the content, and I did just kind of want to disseminate it and get it out there. But it seems like there's this brick wall, like this line between what's acceptable and what's amateur. And that line is still hard drawn, built up in bricks, and it's changing gradually. Every day a brick comes off of it, or a block gets knocked down. But it's still the same sort of mentality where we're small time, even though we're the customers, we're the people who are into it, who are buying the products. We're sort of, I don't want to say that we're second class, but it does seem like there's an inner circle, doesn't it? But yeah, I just wanted to share something I noticed. I'm not saying, like, the video needs to be shared or, whatever, go viral or all that stuff. I just found it interesting that, this one piece of content that I think, I'm not saying everything that I did is great, because it's really not. Some of the stuff is cool, some of it's B, C, it has different grades. But that video is kind of a standard, at least for now. And everything changes, everything gets blown out of the water. But it definitely is something that right now is relevant. And it got completely brushed over, which I think that speaks to just sort of this, I don't know, maybe a lack of recognition's a crappy word, because recognition's like, oh, you owe me that. Nobody owes me nothing. But it speaks to a perspective, and sort of maybe a closed-minded perspective, something that really has hurt a lot of the fishing industry moving in, because they're not opening their mind to younger anglers. They're not opening their mind to, like, people like on the Guggen Squad. Once again, I don't care what you think of them. They're reaching out to the audience that's going to be fishing 10 years from now. They're reaching out to people who are into the sport, who are passionate about the sport, maybe in a different way than you are, but their perspective in that audience matters. And they're not being accommodated. They're not being looked at as a real audience, which is kind of stupid. But yeah, I'll probably get more hell for this video than it's actually worth. But I did find it interesting in just noting the way things still work, even though we're in a new school, new era of content, of fishing, of anglers, of media, of just a way of looking at things in any industry, in any demographic. You still have this wall, and this wall still exists, which is just kind of weird. But I'll be curious to see if anybody shares a video moving forward. But I don't know, what's your thoughts on it? Like, I know there's a million different perspectives, but I do feel kind of like, I don't know if the right word is looked down upon, but we're definitely not as important as you would imagine us to be, because of the fact that, weekend anglers, average anglers are the ones buying the stuff. We're the guys that are, testing the stuff, throwing the stuff, catching fish on it. And we're the ones, especially now with the way you can amplify your voice on social media, we're the ones who are really changing the game. The people, the real people, the grassroots people, the real fishing people. I wonder if they're going to figure that out at some point. I don't know. All that being said, yes, I am self-promoting in a way. But you know what? I don't care. That's my perspective. If you don't like it, comment. Tell me what you think. If you do like it, comment and tell me what you think. If you don't have an opinion, or you have a different opinion, throw it down there, because it's interesting to have this dialogue, because in the end, we decide the direction that fishing goes. In the end, the way the industry is going to be built in the future, 10 years from now, is going to depend on guys who are real anglers, grassroots anglers. We're going to decide the direction that it takes, how it's formed, how it functions, who's important, what matters. That's our choice. We're going to make that choice. We'll make that choice with our dollars. We'll make that choice with the content we make. We'll make that choice with what we fish and how we fish. So be empowered, because we do have the power to kind of modify the industry, modify the way we have fun. It's our hobby. We're the ones who fish, and we can make it whatever we want to make it. So self-promotion, check out the 43 pounds or 49 pounds, and there's another 43-pound bag coming. Shh. And like the video, share it if you dig it. Throw your comments below. I'd like to see what your perspectives are. And as usual, tight line, support real fishing. And I hope you don't mind my little political rant for the minute. I just thought it was something interesting to note, especially with a piece of content that I thought was pretty darn cool. So, peace out for now, guys.